10 vintage toys from the 90s to keep your eyes on. What's going on, Coco? Today we are going back to the 90s. The biggest worry is when someone didn't rewind the videotape. But we didn't just spend our childhood riding bikes or trying to learn how to skateboard. We were very busy playing with what is, in my opinion, the best era of toys. But now when people find these toys on the thrift or on Facebook, they just want them. And then they start collecting them and they start rebuilding their childhood. I mean, only a fucking wanker would do that, wouldn't they? As you can see, I got into a one-on-one punch-on with my shaver. Please refrain from bullying me in the comments about my stupid-looking head. Let's get into it. These are 10 items that I want you to look out for, and this first one is going to be super hard to find. I've never found it, ironically. But remember in the 90s, the Super Soaker? It's still made today with the Super Soaker. There's water pistols, all sorts of stuff, but the Super Soaker was the titties. Everyone wanted the Super Soaker. Dead stock Super Soaker stuff goes for good money. So if you do happen to come across a Super Soaker in the box, and it is from the 90s, you are going to get some good money from it. The Super Soaker was so big, people like Michael Jackson even got on board.
Super Soaker.
I think he was just all about it because he could pump and spray it all over kids and then not get in trouble. Alright, I'm going to jump straight off that. The next one I want to talk about is the Sky Dancer. All the young girls, and well, some boys would have had these Sky Dancer. It started as a cartoon and it took off, but these things actually got taken off the shelves because I think they took a few eyes out. Parents didn't like them. You had to go climbing up the trees to get them out. You know, the dads of the 90s, they'd be up there in their jeans and their sneakers pulling out Sky Dancers from the trees and off the roof and all that sort of stuff. Because these things, you pull the string and they shoot off in the sky. They were for young girls, they had the wings, and these things were massive, but they're so hard to get now. And some of these can actually go for around $100. So I found one a little while ago in an op shop and it was complete. It had the dock and it had the Sky Dancer. So keep your eyes peeled. If you do see these, they actually go for pretty good money. No, Batman! We all know Batman. It was from fucking ages ago. But through the 90s, that's when the movies came out. These big movies, they were huge and they had so many massive actors in them. It just absolutely took off. So anything Batman from the 90s just really boosted. Very often, if you look through those little tubs inside an op shop, you find toys from the 90s, Batman toys. Some rarer than others. Some might only be $10 toys, but if you're paying 50 cents and $1, there's $10, you know? Once again, this is one where you can bundle all the basic stuff up and then actually make quite a good profit on a whole collection. So always look at the Batman stuff. There is a lot of bootleg shit that's not worth nothing, so avoid that. And once again, when you're looking at toys, if you want to see if it's legit, you can actually look on normally their ass or the bottom of their feet, you know, all that sort of stuff. And it will have the manufacturer of the toy, it will have the date that it was made and all that sort of stuff. If there's nothing on there, it's probably a bootleg and it'll be probably low quality of a toy. So keep your eyes peeled for that. This one here says DC Comics 1994 and it was made by Kenner, which I think Kenner also made this, the 97 toy. So I picked up a lot of these ages ago, probably before I was doing videos, and I do collect a bit of Batman stuff. And most of them sold so quick. Like I had a Joker still in the packet that went for $120. Yeah, it's going to be hard to find them still new in box. But if you can find them loose, seriously bundle them up. But certain individual vintage 90s Batman toys can go for good money.
In my pocket. From the beginning, dinosaurs were huge creatures.
This is not huge, and this is a Stegosaurus.
24 dinosaurs from Monster in my pocket.
They're not huge, but they are neat, and they fit in my pocket.
Monster in my pocket.
This one's going to be hard to find, but Monster in My Pocket is super popular and more on an international spectrum than here. The reason being, well, I don't know the reason actually. They're more popular over there because every time I've picked them up, they've gone international every single time. There's been a few times where I've just found them at garage sales more so than anything. Whereas at garage sales, someone getting rid of all their old toys will have the bundles still together. So you can pick up the whole bundle. I actually picked one up at a garage sale and shipped it off to Mexico. I ended up with about 20 to 30 of them and I got $100 for the lot. They're these little tiny monsters and man, they were the titties back in the 90s. Now, I know you're all aware of Power Rangers. Everyone knows who Power Rangers are.
Back off, Fang Face! The good guys are here! Get off our planet!
Because we're the Power Rangers! And we're not backing down! Yeah!
But Power Rangers are always worth looking at. The reason being they're another good bundle toy. If you can get a lot of the stuff from the 90s that are only worth $5 to $10 to $15 each, they can bundle up and you can sell as a collection. Often on Facebook Marketplace, because people are just sort of browsing, they see it, they see the nostalgia on there and go, holy shit, I need that. But there's certain stuff that, like, there's so many weird looking creepy villains on Power Rangers. There's a couple, and some of these can go for around $20 each. So they are definitely worth looking at, and that's plus post. Just because of how unique these characters are. Once again, bundle up, you're laughing, but some individual ones can go for crazy money, especially if they're new in box, which is always going to be rare to find. Trolls. This time I'm not talking about the ones that leave comments on your YouTube channel that are not even them, or hit that big thumbs down because they're a fucking hero. I'm talking about troll dolls. You know those ones where you squeeze the tummy and the tongue could poke out and their hair was everywhere? You know, these things. Fantastic. We all knew what troll dolls were. We love troll dolls. But some of these troll dolls from the 90s can go for crazy money. So I'm telling you, I've quite often actually seen troll dolls in op shops, and some of the modern stuff, yeah, I've left behind. But vintage, definitely, once again, get it. If you're putting it in bundles, even bundles of 5 can just go crazy money. There's certain ones that are super rare. If you see trolls, please don't just walk past them. Have a look at them because they can be really, really good money.
You're in my control.
Now, if you know me, there was no way I was going to do a video on 90s toys and not talk about Street Sharks, because I've always got Street Sharks on hand. The beauty of Street Sharks, people know that I love them, people know that I talk about them, and people hit me up and sell them to me. So I appreciate the people that have reached out to me and sold me Street Sharks just purely through YouTube and Instagram. You are fucking legends, because this stuff is my favorite. This is the titties. This was my childhood, Street Sharks. I used to love this show, and the toys were so good. And I mean, if you're getting this stuff in box, whew, good money. But you know, these characters, they're basically sharks. They're made streetwise designs, made in the 90s, and people pay really, really good money for them. I find it hard to part with them. I actually jack my prices on these, and if they sell, they sell. If they don't, they stay on the shelf, because I think Street Sharks are amazing. It's definitely my favorite thing from the 90s, and other than maybe Biker Mice is probably close up there with them. They were my two favorite. So some of these I have sold for the $100, and if they have their accessories, they go for mad money. I've spoken about them so much on this channel, so I'm not even going to talk any more about them. If you do want to see some of the sales I've had on them, or when I've picked them up, go back through my what solds and my thrifting and garage selling videos. Still can't get me chair right. This is giving me the shit. So just recently in a video of mine, I spoke about these Hasbro figures because I picked up a whole heap of them and I've been selling them off. I really wanted to keep a lot of these, but I priced them fairly high on eBay with offers, as I do with a lot of collectibles, because I hate parting with them. But they're selling. They are selling so goddamn quick. Like, I knew this was a big market and a good market. I didn't realize how good. These things are flying out the door. Very, very hard to find in a thrift store, once again. But down the bottom of those tubs, you got to look, man. If you see these are from 91. Please keep your eye out for these wrestlers. Any wrestlers in general can go for good money, but these ones from the 90s, some of these, a couple of the ones that I have already sold, like $60, $70 a piece for these. Look, they're tiny. So I just dropped him and maybe broke him. Now, I do want to keep this pretty gender neutral. I know I've been talking about a lot of boys' toys, but
I was a boy,
so I grew up in the 90s
with boys' toys.
But I have more knowledge around that stuff. But there is another, I did talk about the Sky Dancers, but one girl's toy that I'm sure everyone is aware of. It was actually made, a lot of it in the 80s, but the 90s was when it really, really sort of boomed. And that is Polly Pocket. Polly Pocket is the titties. If you can find some original Polly Pocket or just Polly Pocket from the 90s, some of it's crazy. Like, I've found little castles and all that sort of stuff that went for bullshit money. I have no Polly Pocket stuff here at the minute. I'm all sold out, but I've found it actually quite a few times just out of shopping, and they have just gone on like that quick as fuck and sold for pretty good money. So it's hard to find little pieces out of it. That is the killer. I spoke on a recent video when I had those Street Sharks. Mighty Max, this was the guy's version. So Mighty Max is another one that is just amazing. If you want to see that, go back to that video about 2 videos ago. But it's the same sort of concept. You know, the boys version, you get the little characters and they go in there and they fucking run around and have a good old time. The Polly Pocket was castles and girly shit. So Polly Pocket sells super well. And Mighty Max, it doesn't sell as good. The girls are beating the boys in this sense, or whoever the fuck wants to play with whatever, it's fine. But Polly Pocket, man, is probably one of the best sellers that I've actually experienced in my time as a reseller. Vintage Polly Pocket, woohoo! I'm going to be a shifty little prick again and actually put 2 items in one. Why? Because they're both good. And that is Digimon. Digimon. So I'm going to start with talking about Digimon. They were little fucking toy things where you push the buttons and you'd raise a little dinosaur and they'd fight. There's a show, there's all that sort of shit. But the original Digimon, and it sometimes comes down to colour of the actual little unit, goes for crazy money, like fucking bullshit. If you manage to see this stuff in an op shop or on Marketplace or something, just grab it. There is a modern one. They have remade them, so be careful. Make sure you are pricing right or listing it right. Because, you know, someone that wants to buy vintage Digimon doesn't want a fucking modern one to turn up, or then you're just going to get slapped with a negative, aren't you? But Digimon, man, whoa, wow. Like, I had these things. They got banned in my school. Anything that gets banned in a school is good. Simple as that. Digimon got banned in my school. Pokemon cards got banned in my school. All the cool stuff. But another thing that was very, very similar is Tamagotchis. I'm sure we all know what a Tamagotchi is. And it was this little stupid creature where, you know, you'd feed it and it'd shit and it'd sleep and that was about it. And then it'd die. And everyone was heartbroken. It started fights, all that sort of stuff. Tamagotchis were crazy in the 90s. It was like one of the very few, I think, unisex products. So most toys that were created were kind of gender specific, weren't they? And it's still the same today. And that's never really going to change too much. But this one, the Tamagotchi, just had that boost because it actually attracted boys and girls to play with it. And they liked the idea of raising these pets. And then that's when it went out to Digimon and all that sort of stuff. So they were, they just had that boost.
Isn't Tamagotchi her new favorite pet?
Yes!
So what's that make me? Fish stick?
That's it. That's my 10. That's what in my opinion, I think are the best. There is so many different things, like Furby lucked out. You know, I didn't put Furby in there. I've never found a Furby. I never had a Furby, so it's kind of not my thing. So this is all 100% opinion based. If you want to find the top 10 selling 90s toys from eBay, go and do your own fucking research. I done this for fun.